This story begins in 18th century Austria. We see a woman trying to comfort a crying child. She is holding the baby in her arms, trying to soothe its tears and make it stop crying. Suddenly, someone calls out to her and she walks away, leaving the child behind. Then another woman who had been watching from a distance steps forward and approaches the crying child. She picks up the baby in her arms and holds it close to her body. The child slowly calms down in her embrace. She takes a rosary from around her own neck and gently places it around the child's neck. The rosary is a sacred religious item. It is supposed to be a blessing and protection for the infant. But then something terrible happens. Without any apparent reason, without any warning, she carries the child to a nearby waterfall. The water is crashing and roaring below. And then, in a shocking moment of horror, she throws the child down into the waterfall. The baby plummets into the raging water below and disappears. It is an act of unimaginable cruelty and violence, a shocking and disturbing moment that sets the tone for the dark story to come. After committing this horrific act, the woman goes straight to the church. She enters the sacred building and confesses her terrible crime to the priest. She tells him exactly what she did. She says she has made a terrible mistake. She is seeking forgiveness and absolution for what she has done. The priest listens to her confession. Soon after this confession, we hear that the woman was punished severely for what she did. Her punishment was brutal and terrible. Her body is later found in the forest. She is tied to a chair, lying down with her head locked inside a cage. She has been executed in a gruesome and horrible way. Then a mysterious man arrives at the scene. He looks at the dead woman's body. He cuts off one of her fingers with a knife. He wraps the severed finger carefully in cloth. This finger will become important to the story. It will be passed on to others. It becomes a symbol and an object of dark power. Next, we are introduced to the main character of the story. She is a girl named Agus. Agus is a poor farmer who lives with her brother and mother in a small village. She is 17 years old. Today is her wedding day, so she looks very happy and excited. This is supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Agus, along with her brother and mother, are traveling to another village with all their belongings loaded on a freight train. All their possessions are being transported for her future husband. They are moving to start a new life. When they arrive at the new village in Wolf's house, they find that wedding preparations are already underway. The house is decorated and ready. The villagers joyfully lift Agus up into the air and celebrate her arrival. She is filled with happiness and joy at the warm welcome. The excitement and celebration make her feel loved and welcomed. Now Wolf's mother, her future mother-in-law, puts an apron on Agus. The apron is a symbol of her new role as a wife and homemaker. Then Wolf's mother hands her a childlike doll. When Agus sees the doll, she looks very happy. Everyone around her also looks happy. This is their tradition and way of teaching the bride her new responsibilities. The doll represents what is to come. It symbolizes that after marriage, she should become a good wife. She will be able to manage all the household work and tasks. Along with that, she will also have the responsibility of becoming a mother and raising children. Agus and Wolf get married. The ceremony is beautiful and the celebration is joyful. While everyone is celebrating and dancing and drinking, Wolf tells Agus, "Come with me. I want to show you something special." He wants to surprise her. He blindfolds her and brings her to a new house. When he removes the blindfold, Agus is surprised and shocked. She says, "But I thought I would be living with your mother." She was expecting to live in her mother-in-law's house, as was the custom. Wolf replies, "My brother is going to get that house. That is why I bought this one with my savings and a loan." Agus gets really worried when she hears this. She immediately becomes concerned about money and debt. She says, "You took a loan, but why? And how are you going to repay it?" She is worried about their financial future. Wolf smiles and tries to reassure her. He says, "Do not worry. That is my responsibility. Everything will be fine." Meanwhile, day has turned to evening. The villagers are still dancing and celebrating. They are completely drunk after having too much alcohol. Agus notices that Wolf is also totally drunk. He is talking and laughing with one of his friends, completely intoxicated. After some time, Agus's family decides to leave and return to their home village. Her brother gives her a special gift wrapped in cloth. When she opens it, she is shocked and horrified. She finds the severed finger of the woman who was executed in front of the village. The finger is the one that was cut off from the dead woman's body, the severed finger of the woman who killed the child. Her brother says, "This is like a lucky charm for you. You are going to live a happy life with your husband, and very soon you will also get the good news of becoming a mother. He is telling her that the finger is a blessing, a magical object that will bring her good fortune. Hearing this, August becomes overjoyed despite the gruesome nature of the gift. She and her brother hug each other tightly. They say they will miss each other very much. Their goodbye is emotional and filled with love. Later, when August arrives at her new home with Wolf, she kisses the same severed finger and places it under her bed as if to bring herself good luck and blessings. She treats it as a sacred object. After that, she begins praying to God. She asks God to help her be a good wife and to bless her with children soon. She prays with all her heart, hoping that her prayers will be answered. After some time, Wolf comes home drunk. He has been out drinking with the villagers. Wanting to be a good wife and spend quality time with him, August thinks of going to him and spending some intimate time together. But instead, Wolf yells at her and tells her to go to sleep. He is harsh and unkind. Then he passes out from the alcohol. August is hurt and confused by his behavior. She had only wanted to be a good wife. The next morning, when August wakes up, she notices Wolf is not in bed. She searches the entire house looking for him. She even checks the stables where the animals are kept, but he is nowhere to be found. He has disappeared. So August gets ready and heads into the forest to look for him. After wandering through the forest for a while, she notices strange markings on a piece of paper stuck to a tree. The markings belong to the same woman who had abandoned her child after falling ill and who had died. Seeing this made August feel awful and disturbed. As she walked further through the forest, she came across the woman's dead body. The body is still tied to a chair. The woman's head has been cut off and is placed beside her body. Everything is locked inside a cage. The sight makes August's heart sink. It is a gruesome and horrifying discovery. But not far ahead from the body, she finds Wolf peacefully fishing in the pond with his mother and some villagers. He seems completely unconcerned about her search for him. Wolf's mother calls out to her, "Come on, girl, start working." August was eager to help and be useful. She tried to work and do the tasks assigned to her, but since she had never done such chores before in her life, it was really difficult for her. She struggles with the unfamiliar work. Just then, the church bells begin to ring loudly. Hearing them, August kneels down and begins praying. Prayer is important to her faith. Seeing this, Wolf's mother gets irritated and angry. She snaps, "That is enough praying. Are you going to finish all your prayers today itself? That is more than enough. Get to work." She is mocking August's devotion and demanding that she focus on work instead of prayer. August obeys and tries to work harder. By the afternoon, August and Wolf's mother are distributing bread to the workers in the field. Each person is given just one piece of bread. A man asks for 2 pieces, saying he is really hungry. His stomach is empty and he needs more food. August feels sorry for him and his hunger. She gives him 2 pieces of bread out of kindness and compassion. But seeing this act of kindness, Wolf's mother becomes angry. She takes 1 piece back and says harshly, "Get out of here. Be patient and eat whatever you have been given." She is cruel and shows no mercy for the hungry man. August is surprised by this cruelty and feels bad for the hungry man. She is learning that life with Wolf's mother is going to be difficult and harsh. Later, Wolf shows August the way home through the pond. He also tells her from now on to wear clothes that match the kind of work she is doing. When they get home, August gets busy with other household tasks. Later in the evening, she kisses her cut finger again and places it under the bed, hoping that her husband will love her and they will have a child soon. But that night too, Wolf pushes her away. He rejects her. This breaks August's heart. She walks out into the dark night and starts crying. She is heartbroken and lonely. The next morning, August goes to church, and while looking at a statue of Jesus holding a child, she prays to God to bless her with a child. She desperately wants to become a mother. Her prayers are heartfelt and sincere. Later, August and Wolf's mother go to the pond to wash clothes. While they are there, a pregnant woman who also works at Wolf's house shows up. She is expecting a baby. She quickly becomes friendly with August and they bond over their shared experiences. They both go into the forest to rest, but end up falling asleep there. When August wakes up, she realizes she has been asleep for a long time. The pregnant woman had already left. August quickly gets up and heads home. When she arrives at the house, she sees Wolf's mother cooking. She asks, "Can I help you?" But Wolf's mother angrily refuses to let her help. She asks where August had been all this time. August replies that she had gone to church to pray. Wolf's mother mocks her and says, "Pray all you want, But God never supports a woman who does not care for her husband or cook for him on time. She is criticizing Agus harshly. Wolf's mother continues, "That plant you have kept is terrible. It is dirty and it makes the whole house look messy. You should just throw it out." She is criticizing everything about Agus, including a plant she has placed in the house for decoration. Agus feels deeply hurt by how they treat her. She is being constantly criticized and made to feel worthless. She asks Wolf, "Is your mom going to come over every day?" She is hoping that perhaps his mother will not be a constant presence. He replies, "I do not know." Then Agus asks, "Does she hate me?" Wolf explains, "It is not like that. My mother is just strict and anger runs in our family." He is trying to defend his mother and make excuses for her behavior. But his words do not comfort Agus. That night too, Wolf goes to sleep without saying a word to Agus. He ignores her completely. This leaves her feeling heartbroken and alone again. She wonders, what can I do to make my husband take interest in me? She walks to an old room behind the house where she has built a small shack, a kind of prayer space or shrine. She goes there to pray to God and seek comfort. Then a butterfly lands on her face. Agus feels happy, thinking of it as a sign of hope and encouragement from God. The next morning, she wakes up early and heads to the pond. She is hoping to catch fish before anyone else arrives. She wants to prove that she can be useful and provide food for the household. But unfortunately, she is not able to catch even a single fish. Instead, she ends up getting stuck in the mud and cannot free herself. She is sinking deeper into the mud, struggling and panicking. That is when Wolf arrives with his workers. Seeing Agus in that terrible condition, he becomes concerned and says, "You should not have come here. This mud is very dangerous. Many people have drowned here." He is worried for her safety. Agus replies, "I am just punishing myself for not cooking yesterday." She is blaming herself for her failures and trying to hurt herself as punishment. Wolf quickly pulls her out of the mud so that the fish do not get scared away by the commotion. He saves her from drowning. Later that night, someone knocks on Wolf's door and tells him something terrible has happened to his friend. Wolf is told that his friend has killed himself. He rushes out right away to help his friend's family. Meanwhile, Agus hears a woman screaming in the neighborhood, which frightens her greatly. The screams are loud and filled with despair. She grabs a light and walks over to the neighbor's house to see what is going on. When she gets there, she sees a crowd gathered outside Wolf's friend's house. Wolf's friend had hanged himself. Someone had come to collect the body while his mother was crying and begging them not to take him away. But no one listens to her pleas. They place his body onto a carriage and take it away to be disposed of. Seeing all this death and suffering, Agus gets very scared. She quickly comes back home and begins praying intensely. She asks God to always protect her from all evil. She is terrified of death and what happens to souls that are lost. The next day, the priest arrives at the village. He makes an announcement about what should happen to Wolf's friend's body. He says that Wolf's friend's body should not be buried in sacred ground because taking one's own life is a serious sin in the eyes of God and the church. He explains the religious law and doctrine. The priest recalls the story of the woman who threw her child from the waterfall. She had actually thrown her own baby, but she had confessed her crime to the priest and to God. So although she still had to go to jail and face punishment, she was almost forgiven by God. She was also forgiven because she suffered a painful death. Since she confessed her sins, her soul will go to heaven after death. But Wolf's friend committed a grave sin by ending his own life without confessing or seeking forgiveness. Suicide is considered an unforgivable sin, so his soul is lost and will definitely go to hell. His body should not be buried with honor or respect. After coming out of the church, Agus sees that Wolf's friend's body has been dumped in the garbage along with the bodies of other criminals. The bodies are left there to rot. The decomposition is visible. It is a horrifying and degrading sight. The next day, while Agus is working in the fields, she starts experiencing a female health problem. Her body is not cooperating with her desires. The poor girl begins crying in despair because she had prayed so hard to become a mother. She realizes now that she will not be able to have children due to her health issue. Her prayers have not been answered. In the afternoon, while Agus is handing out bread to the workers, her pregnant friend says, "Please give me one more piece. I am eating for two, for myself and my unborn child." The woman is asking for extra food because she is pregnant and needs more nutrition. But because Wolf's mother is present and watching, Agus has to say no. She cannot defy Wolf's mother. To make things worse, her mother-in-law says coldly, Do not worry about feeding her. She should be grateful she is even allowed to work here. Hearing this makes August feel terrible. She is full of anger and frustration. She is being forced to be cruel to a pregnant woman who needs help. She is being controlled and manipulated by her mother-in-law. On the way home, consumed by despair and self-hatred, she begins hurting herself with thorny plants. She scrapes her skin against the sharp thorns, drawing blood. Still not feeling satisfied with the physical pain, she starts scratching her tongue with a thorny branch to cause herself more pain. The self-harm leads to a lot of bleeding. The scene is deeply heartbreaking and disturbing. After doing this to herself, she lays down next to the headless woman's body that is placed in the cage. The dead woman is still there, rotting. August lies beside the corpse and rests for a while. She feels a kinship with the dead woman, another victim of cruel circumstances. At night, when August does not return home, Wolf's mother complains to Wolf, saying, "Look, your wife still has not come home. I am really worried about that girl. She never comes home on time, does not cook properly, and does not do any of the work right. Neither does she take care of you, nor is she having a child." She is listing all of August's failures and shortcomings. Hearing this, Wolf says, "Mom, calm down. Just give August some more time. She will do everything." He is trying to defend his wife and ask for patience. His mother replies, "You made a mistake too. You should have married a girl from this village, someone who would take care of the house and give birth to your children." She is saying that he chose the wrong wife. But Wolf's mother and Wolf do not know that August is standing outside their house, overhearing everything they are saying. She is listening to them criticize her and say that she is a failure. Her eyes fill with tears. She thinks to herself, "How can I tell Wolf's mother that it was not my fault, it was her son's? It was Wolf who rejected her and would not have intimate relations with her. It was not her fault that she could not conceive." Instead of going home, she walks toward the body of the same headless woman. To calm her mind and find some peace, she spends the entire night singing songs for the dead woman. She sings softly and mournfully, honoring the dead. The next morning, instead of going back to Wolf's house, she heads to her childhood home. She goes back to her mother's house where she grew up. Through the window, she sees her mother and brother peacefully eating breakfast together. She watches them from outside, longing for the safety and love of her childhood home. After a while, her brother comes out to the stable where he finds a goose asleep. Her mother follows him. The goose tells them, "I cannot live in my husband's house. I feel scared there." She is confessing that she is unhappy and frightened. Her mother replies, "Sweetheart, that is your home now. I cannot keep you here with me, but whenever you are in trouble or upset, I will come see you right away." Her mother is being practical. As a married woman, August belongs to her husband's house, not her childhood home. So August sits outside the house, heartbroken and rejected. She is not welcome back. Later that afternoon, Wolf comes to retrieve her. He asks August to come back home with him. When she refuses, he and her brother forcefully pick her up and carry her back to his house against her will. She is being taken back by force. August refuses to do any housework. From her expression, it seems like she is broken inside. She either sleeps all day or spends her time praying. She has given up on life. Her mother-in-law angrily says, "Stop this drama and pull yourself together." But Auguste, who has lost all hope of living, says nothing. She is silent and withdrawn. Wolf's mother starts changing Auguste's clothes so she can take her to the doctor. But in frustration and despair, Auguste snatches the clothes and puts them on herself. The doctor examines her and confirms that she cannot have children. After the checkup, she begins walking home alone. That is when she comes across a strange little child on the road. Seeing him, she becomes very happy. She immediately picks him up in her arms and holds him close. She thinks, "My prayers have been answered." This is a gift from God. She has found a child, and she takes this as a sign that her prayers were heard. She brings him home. But Wolf's mother becomes furious when she sees the child. She says angrily, "You need to return this child to wherever you found him. His parents are probably looking for him." The poor girl has no choice but to agree. She knows she cannot keep the child, so she leaves the child at the spot where she found him, believing that the parents will definitely come for him and reunite with him. After returning home, she prays a lot for the child's safety and well-being. As night falls, Wolf is busy partying and drinking with the villagers. He does not care at all about his wife, who lies in bed, consumed by depression. Once again, she takes out the severed finger and licks the blood on it. She begins praying to God desperately. After a while, she starts trembling and collapses, getting injured in the process. She begins having strange thoughts and visions that do not seem real or sane. Then, as soon as she closes her eyes, she has a terrible vision. In the vision, she digs into the soil and finds her own dead body buried there. That is when she realizes with horror, I have been buried. She is having a vision of her own death and burial. Then suddenly her eyes open. She sees Wolf standing there, holding her by the throat. He is choking her. He is fed up with her and does not know what to do with August anymore. She has become a burden to him. Controlling his anger, he walks out of the room. After a long time, he returns. Seeing August's condition, she is weak and traumatized. He thinks she needs to see a doctor again. But August tells him there is no need. She says, my time has come. Just call the priest so I can confess my sins. Hearing this, Wolf becomes very upset and confused. She is talking about confessing sins, which means she thinks she is dying or about to commit a crime. He rushes out of the room. After some time, he returns and tells August, the priest is not home. We will have to wait until tomorrow. August grows anxious and worried. She is afraid she might die without confessing her sins. She is terrified that her soul will go to hell if she dies without absolution. She tells Wolf the truth. She confesses that she has consumed rat poison. She has swallowed poison intending to kill herself. Wolf panics immediately upon hearing this. He rushes toward her and forces her to spit out the poison. He saves her life by making her vomit the poison. Luckily, he manages to save her just in time before the poison can kill her. A little later, Wolf's mother arrives. She sees that August is still alive but very weak and ill, so she helps dress her, and Wolf carries her to her mother's house. He takes August back to her childhood home. He tells August's mother that her daughter has consumed rat poison and that he believes August is possessed by some kind of demon or evil spirit. He says he thinks it is best for her to stay at her mother's home instead of being forced to stay in his house. He says she should live peacefully at her mother's home instead. After that, he says goodbye to his wife and leaves. He is abandoning her and leaving her with her mother. He cannot deal with her anymore. The next morning, we see that August is feeling better than before. Her health is improving. She begins cleaning her room and organizing her space. Then she gets ready, says goodbye to her family, and leaves the house. She heads into the forest where she sees a group of children playing. She approaches one of them and asks, can you tell me about the shrine around here? I will give you some money. She is bribing the child to show her where a shrine is located. The child agrees because of the money offered. When they both arrive at the shrine, Auguste tells the child to pray with her. The child agrees willingly, and they go inside the shrine and begin praying together. But suddenly, something terrible happens. August stabs the boy in the neck, injuring him badly and knocking him to the ground. She grabs hold of him violently. The boy pleads desperately, please do not kill me. But August stabs him multiple times, killing him. She commits murder. Then looking at his dead body, she says, now you will not commit any crimes. You are just a child, so become an angel in the eyes of God. She believes that by killing him before he can grow up and commit sins, she has saved his soul. She believes she is helping him. Then she goes to the church. The next day, she talks about wanting to meet the priest. That night, she cuts her hair short. The following day, she begins confessing all her sins to the priest. She says, first of all, I could not make my husband happy. Then I had bad thoughts about my mother-in-law. I could not take care of the animals in the stable and caused problems for others by not doing my duties properly. I tried really hard to be a good wife, but I failed. I even ate rat poison thinking no one could help me. She continues confessing, besides all that, I committed another terrible sin. I killed a child. I did it thinking that maybe he would not grow up to commit crimes and maybe my soul would find peace. While saying all this, August is crying. She now pleads to God, please do not send me to hell. I am asking for forgiveness. Please accept it. After hearing everything, the priest decides to absolve her sins. He tells August, God has forgiven you. Hearing this, August feels a huge sense of relief wash over her. She starts laughing and crying at the same time as if a huge burden had been lifted from her heart. She is relieved that she is forgiven by God and will not go to hell. The next day, people started posting pictures of her crimes on trees throughout the village. They are announcing that she is a criminal and a murderer. August is then dressed in animal skin and paraded around the village on a cart. She is displayed as a criminal and a sinner for all the villagers to see. Everyone stares at her and judges her. She is brought to the place where she is to be executed. She is made to sit on a chair, and a mask is placed over her face, covering her eyes. Wolf is among the crowd looking deeply saddened. He is crying as he watches his wife being prepared for execution. August begins to sing a slow, soothing song. She confesses everything she has done, and then her head is cut off in front of the village. She is beheaded publicly as punishment for her crimes. Suddenly, the mood of the crowd changes completely. They all begin to cheer and feel joyful. The execution has brought them happiness instead of sadness. The blood flowing from August's neck is collected carefully in a bucket. People begin paying money to fill their cups and glasses with her blood so they can drink it. They believe that since August confessed her sins and her prayers for forgiveness were accepted by God, her blood is now pure and sacred. They believe that drinking her blood will bring happiness and good fortune into their lives. They see her as a martyr who suffered and was forgiven by God. The villagers begin dancing in celebration while August's head is hung from a tree as a public display. With the end of August's tragic story, the story ends here. The cycle of suffering, confession, forgiveness, and cruel punishment is complete. Let me know your thoughts about this dark and disturbing tale. Thanks for watching.